Hello all, I'm Sandeep Ligade, working as an assistant professor in A.G. Patel Institute of Technology, Sholapur, under Electronics and Telecommunication Department. In mechatronics, we are going to deal with the new topic, that is Unit 2, block diagram representation. These are the various topics, that is introduction to mechatronics system design, identification of key elements of mechatronic systems, and represent into block diagram, open loop, closed loop control system. Similarly, in second point, that is concept of transfer function, block diagram, and reduction principle. Similarly, third point is applications of mechatronic systems. There are three major applications, that is household, automotive, industrial, shop floor. In control systems that we can see over here, right? To decide the system, how we can decide whether it's the system is stable, unstable, or you can say marginally stable. Similarly, to decide any kind of a system, we need to give input. When we give the input to that particular system, what happens is we get the output. If the output is unbounded, we can say continuously increasing, right? That system is called as unstable system. Similarly, when we give the input to a particular system and we get the bounded output, bounded input, bounded output, at that moment the system is called as stable. But at particular input to the system, when output is not absolutely stable, continuously it is varying, okay, continuously varying to a particular margin, fine, continuously, so that system is called as marginally stable system. So these are the different systems that we can predict by giving certain input. Over here, see the first point, for particular input, the system output can be controlled to a desired particular value. Based on the input, we can control the outputs. Second, if some conditions are satisfied, it can give a particular sequence of events as output corresponding to given input. So we can see over here, when we give the input, so response that we get at the output of the system, that is, this is the red color is a desired response, and this blue color is the actual response. Oh yeah, blue color is actual response and red color is desired response. So actually what happens is, when we get the output, initially output is 0, right? So when we give the input, suddenly output rises, or you can say we get the output, but when the output rises, it overshoots in this way, directly it goes over here. This is the behavior of the output signal, and in this way we get the oscillations. So directly it is called as an overshoot, and then undershoot, then it goes over in this way, and after a certain time it settles down. So from here to here we can call it as a response time. So this is actually the behavior of the pulse, or you can say output voltage. Instantly it will not get the red output that we require. Some oscillations are occurring in this way, so it is the actual behavior of, it's called as a transient behavior of this pulse, right? So the first thing that we are going to learn in this one, that is open loop control system, right? So in open loop control system, we can see over here, that is input control law, or can say control logic something, then u, that is plant is there, u as act as an input to this plant, and output that we get. So basically input is nothing but whatever the input that we give, may be, right, uh, some sine wave, square wave, the kind of input that we want, or else the input may be in the form of some physical parameters, that is a temperature, weather, humidity, or something like that. So that can be act as an input, or any actuating or movement of this one. If you want to detect the motion, so that can be act as an input. And control logic, where in control logic what happens is, when we give the input, it processes, it senses, that we can call it as a sensor, right? Initially to the plant that we give the input, that is initial driver, right? Signal conditioning as such, like that. So that is what a control logic, or you can say control law, right? This control law can be mathematical model of the controller. Okay, mathematical model of the controller. And this is a simple plant, or you can say a system, right? So when we design a certain system, that system is depend upon the application, right? The kind of application that we are using. So to decide that application, we select particular hardware, right? In hardware that we can select microcontroller, or you can say microprocessor, peripherals, neighboring peripherals, right? So when we select all these things, it act as a system. So that is, here we can call it as a plant, right? So the output of this, obviously, when we give the input, and this hardware processes it and gives the output. Output may be anything, right? It may be a display if you want on the display, so LCD display, LED display, or any actuating device that we get, that is the output. So here output is simply a measured output, right? Input is nothing but a simple a reference, or you can say desired input or set point input. Fine. And similarly, plant is nothing but the mathematical model of input amplifier plus actuator plus physical system, something like that. So in open loop, see, there is no feedback at all. So in open loop, output is dependent on input, but controlling action is totally independent of the changes in output. Is an open loop control system, isn't it? Very simple. There is no feedback as such when we give the input. So it senses, or you can say control logic or control law processes it, gives the input to the actual system sees that input and process and give the output. That's it. Fine. There is no feedback at all in this one. So that's why it is a simple open loop control system. No feedback is used. So the controller must independently determine what signal to send to the actuator. Right. It is independently deciding what signal to be sent to the actuator. Right. Control system, open loop control system. We can have so many applications of the control system, right? So some examples of open loop control system that we can see simply, when we press a switch, bulb glows. So this bulb glows permanently now, unless and until we press uh, the switch to turn off the bulb. So this is what a simple open loop, isn't it? It is, there is no automatic as such, and there is no feedback as such. It is one way directly. Fine. Similarly, second, if we see, there is a tap pouring water in a jar, or you can see in a tank, right? No doubt there is no sensor, there is no level sensor, something like that, right? So when jar fill completely, the water will come out, no doubt, right? There is no controlling element over here. So simply it is an open loop. Fine. What is our requirement is, when this tank will fill with the water, automatically this tap should turn off, isn't it? But it is not happening over here. There is no sensor, there is no person as such to control this wall, right? This is the one way. That's why it's called as an open loop control system. So many applications will see in short. So advantages: simple in construction and design, right? Highly economical, convenient to implement when output is difficult to measure. So these are the advantages of open loop control system. Disadvantages: the controller never actually knows if the actuator did what it was supposed to do. That is, it is inaccurate. Exactly, it happens over here, right? Unable to sense the environmental changes, or you can say disturbances. What kind of disturbances, what kind of changes is happening? It doesn't see anything. Whatever the input it is getting, it is performing as such. So various applications or examples that we can see of the open loop control system, that is automatic washing machine, right? Automatic washing machine, when we put a clothes in a washing machine, right? So particular timer has been set, and when we turn on that washing machine, for that specific time period it will turn on, and after that it will turn off. But it doesn't see that whether your cloth is dirty or it got clean, something like that. In a specific time period itself, that washing machine is in on condition. Electric bulb, that already we have seen, right? Electric hand dryer over here. Simply when we go in hotels while washing over there, there is a electric dryer. When we put hand in front of that electric hand dryer, so sensor senses that our hand and it turns on that dryer, right? So unless and until we remove that hand from there, the system remains in on condition even though our hand is in dry condition. So that's what automatically it will not sense our hand is now totally dried, now we should turn off. Such kind of situation will not happen in electric hand dryer. That's why it is called as an open loop control system, right? So similarly, time based bread toaster, specific time is allotted to that bread toaster, suppose 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or you can see 4 minutes. Whether that bread is totally or properly baked or not, it doesn't see anything. Simply after the time lapse, the bread comes out. Okay. uh, Volume of the audio system, that we know, right? Water faucet, or you can say tap. When we turn on the tap of the water, unless and until we turn off that, similarly the water is getting poor over there. That's again open loop control system. Then TV remote control, then clothes dryer. These are the specific applications of open loop control system. Now looking towards, so here closed loop control system. Controlling action is dependent on the changes in output. Obviously it's very important over here. Now some additional part is added over here, that is a summation, that is we can say called is as a comparator, or you can say error amplifier. It detects. E stands for error, right? Is equal to input minus output, and U is simply nothing but the control input. Fine. So it compares. Now if we see the block diagram, input is there, comparator, control law, plant, and output. Only one parameter that has been added, that is a feedback. Okay. So when there is a change in the output, that change is feedback to the input, or you can say we can control this by giving a feedback, and necessary changes is happening over here, and that is given to the control law, and via plant again output is control over here, right? So some examples we'll see. By looking at example, you can easily understand what exactly is happening over here. So in this image, the person body temperature is somewhat, suppose there is one person and here is a sweater. If the body temperature of that person increases, what will happen? So he want that sweater, isn't it? So it will not happen, because if temperature is high, he will not demand a sweater over here, right? So whatever the temperature in a body is there, that is given, it acts as a signal to the brain, and now brain decide what this person wants. Obviously he may turn on AC because body temperature is high, isn't it? He may turn on AC. When the body temperature goes low, or you can say when he feels cold, at that time cold, he needs a sweater, isn't it? He needs a sweater in this way. So again that cold act as some physical parameter, right? So that is sensed by that human being, and a signal is given to the brain. Now brain decides that now I want a sweater, not to turn on fan, isn't it? At that time, because he's feeling cold in the now, so he demands a sweater to wear over here. So it gives, okay, feedback is given to the brain. Now it gives a signal to wear a sweater. So this is what you can say closed loop control system. Exactly in that, what he wants, right? The person is suffering from the cold, or if or else he is suffering from the hot temperature. Based on that signal, the person decides, and that is decided by the brain, because brain is giving the decision. One more example we can see over here, right? There is one tank, and here is a tap. right? So water is pouring in a tank. When the level of the water increases, right, what is our expectation? Suppose if the level of the water reaches over here, this tap should turn off. Now who is looking this one? The person sitting over here is controlling the wall over here. So when the level of the water increases to the desired value, right, or you can say to the specific value, this person is continuously monitoring over here. That level is sensed, or you can say feedback signal is given to that person, right? That person, when he sees that there is a desired level or a specific level, right, or you can say a required level of the water, then immediately he operate this valve to turn off this tap. Very simple, right? To turn off this tap, or is simply you can call when he operates this valve, water will come out from this one. So in this way here the feedback is given to the person by his eyes, because he is looking continuously, or he is monitoring continuously to this level of the water. So as the feedback received by this person, he activates this valve to operate, or you can say to work this valve to flow water. So this is what again the closed loop control system. Examples of automatic closed loop control system, very simple again. Now there is no person as such. In previous image there was a person to operate that, but over here there is no person as such. So similarly, when the level of the water here increases to a specific level, or you can say required level, automatically that level is sensed by this sensor, isn't it? And that signal is given to the controller. Fine. So controller will give the signal to the actuator to operate, right? So actuator will operate this valve to turn on, or you can say turn off accordingly, right? When the level of the water decreases, obviously what happens is this actuator will turn off this valve. When the level of the water increases, at that time this actuator operates in such a way that it will turn on this wall to flow the water. So it is continuously automatic, because we have connected an uh, electromechanical sensor who senses the level of the water. There is no human being as such. So this is called as automatic closed loop control system. So there are so many advantages. That is accurate, since the controller modifies and manipulates the actuating signal such that the error in the system will be zero. Then self-correcting, it is obviously it is self-adjusting as per the requirement, because continuously feedback is there. Then senses the environmental changes and disturbances in the system. Disadvantages: complicated to design and costly. Actually it is somewhat costly, because additional circuitry is required over here. The feedback in the closed loop system may lead to oscillatory response. If there is a continuously feedback is there, then obviously there is an oscillatory response is there. So and last one, unstable. Okay, continuously it is monitoring, that's why it is somewhat unstable, since due to feedback the system tries to correct the error. Continuously it is monitoring, that's what continuously it is under the process to correct the system. Some more application that we can see: thermostat heater, sun seeker solar system, or you can say sun tracker over here, right? So in sun tracker, if we use an LDR, light dependent resistor, right, depends upon the light intensity, the resistance of that LDR changes. So when we use such kind of sensor in a sun tracker, or you can say sun seeker solar system, right? So on a solar panel, when we set such kind of sensor, that sensor senses the light of the sun, right, continuously when it is moving in orbit. It tracks the sun, and continuously it gets the light energy from the sun on the solar panel, so as to charge the battery and all these things. So with the help of that, when a light acts as an input, sensor senses that light and gives a signal to the controller. Controller will give a signal to the actuator, and actuator accordingly sets the angle as per the requirement. Voltage stabilizer, when there is a change in a voltage, right, whether it is a buck stabilizer or boost stabilizer, according to that it stabilize the voltage, right? When voltage falls below the reference value, or you can say desired value or set value, it amplifies that voltage. Or else when voltage is over voltage, right, when it goes to the beyond level, at that time again it's decreases the voltage. So ultimately when there is a change in the voltage, low or high, right, this system keeps the voltage remains constant in any conditions, right? So that's why voltage stabilizer, missile launcher, auto engine, inverter AC, automatic toaster. Now here last time we have seen the toaster example in open loop control system, it was a time based. Now here is a automatic toaster, where here what happens is when we put a bread in that toaster, internal sensor senses that whether bread is totally or properly baked or not. If it is properly baked, then automatically it comes out from that toaster. But in the time span, in open loop, what we have studied, right, it was a time based toaster, only for 2 minutes 3 minutes as per our requirement, okay, or you can say 4 minutes. In 4 minutes, whether that bread is properly baked or not, it doesn't cease. When time lapse, it comes out. That's what. So here is the automatic toaster. Turbine water control system at power stations. So these are the examples, or you can say applications of closed loop control systems. Thank you very much.